subscribers. Well, subscriber rate. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe if I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 47, Strickland versus Hermansson. Week off last week after UFC 270 on pay-per-view. That's a second week off already this year after a long time off. I think it was about a month or so off during the holidays and the New Year. So hopefully we get cards every week from now on. We'll see, though. A decent card this weekend. Nothing too exciting to talk about, especially from a betting standpoint. But we will look at the main card like usual, provide some leans, some free picks, and some breakdowns, along with my weekly update in all sports. We got to recap a little bit of 270, right? UFC Vegas 270. Francis Ngannou stays champion. And not the way that most people thought, or anybody really thought he would win the belt, right? If Francis was going to win that fight, most people thought, I thought, that it was going to be by a first round finish or second round finish by KO. But you seen Ngannou, as I expected, much better on the feet. Much better on the feet. But Ngannou realized he was stronger. He was able to get him down to the ground. And he was able to win the fight by getting it to the ground. And yeah, he didn't do anything when he got it to the ground, but he was able to control him there. No jiu-jitsu skills, but he just won by his power and his strength. If he's not winning by his power on the feet, knocking you out, he's going to take you down. And obviously where he's training now, they worked on the wrestling, right? They're known for their wrestling at that gym. So they were able to just incorporate that into the fight. They realized they weren't going to win that fight on the feet, right? Ngannou won the first 2 rounds fairly easily. He was cruising to victory, and then he tried that kick. Ngannou got him down, and he realized this is what I'm going to do to win this fight, and it was easy. So we saw what Nganou's weakness is. Take him down. So he's definitely going to have to work on that. But Ngannou, what's next for the guy? You know, I would love to see the John Jones fight. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I don't know, right? We don't know when John Jones is going to do tomorrow. He might get arrested or something. He's a tough guy to predict what's going on in his head. I would love to see that. He may go box. I don't know. We know there's some issues with him in the UFC. I'm not going to get too deep into that. You'll read about that all over the place. So it's going to be interesting. But I think UFC has to keep the guy. To keep that heavyweight division relevant. Co-main, we had obviously the Moreno-Fig fight. I wasn't on the heavyweight fight. I didn't have a bet on that, but I did have Moreno in a 2-fight parlay, and Moreno didn't get it done for us. Moreno did not get it done for us. I thought it was a very close fight. I think Fig had the bigger moments, so I did think he deserved the win. It was close, though. Definitely a close fight. I did think Fig did enough. I think that training camp with Henry Cejudo was a big deal. He didn't fight like he normally does. He waited. He kicked that leg well. He had the bigger shots. And he was able to just establish his game plan well, I think. Before, Fig would just go in there and try to knock you out and come forward. He didn't do that in this fight. And Moreno even mentioned it too. That's what caught him off guard. So I did have a Moreno in a 2-fight parlay. We didn't bet that straight up due to the number. We had it with Pereira. Pereira did win the fight. However, we did not get that parlay cashed. There might be a 4th fight between those two. We'll have to see. I think that would be the first time in UFC history, right? 4 fights. We'll see. Weekly update, guys. Let's get into the weekly update. 64% best bets long term. It's over 2.5 years now. 56-35 long-term run, just under 40 units. NFL, guys, 3-1 conference finals. 18-7 playoffs, that's 72%. So we're carrying the great regular season into the playoffs. Betting on Super Bowl, I already have a bet out. I already have a bet out on the spread. So if you guys want that, head over to the website, systemsportscapping.com to get that. And I have a plus 1,200 Rams ticket to win the Super Bowl. So we are looking good in the Super Bowl. PGA, second bad beat in the outright market this year, just in under 3 weeks. We had Zalatoris. He missed on a fairly easy putt. As you can see here in the video, which I actually posted on a few different platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and it got a lot of recognition. A lot of views. One outlet had over 7,000 views on this. I added some sad music. It was pretty funny. So, he just didn't putt well. It's not just this putt. I understand. He didn't have a good putting day. He's not a great putter, to be honest. He's young though. He's young. Very good approach player. Very good off the tee. Just needs to get better with that putter. Over 64 units in the prop market. 69% best bets long term, guys. Over 2 years. Looking to get back on track this weekend after small unit losses in the prop market in the last 2 weeks. NBA 67% on the year, guys. Picking my spots in the NBA. Not high volume as of right now. Season's going well, lower volumes, few bets a week in the NBA. I usually find anywhere from 1 to 3, depending on the matchups. NHL's picking up, and we're running hot right now in the NHL. 11-3 run after a slow start. 65% NHL on the year. Break in the NHL for the All-Star break. We did hit a nice ticket last night on the Edmonton Oilers. Before I get into the card, hear from my friend Meredith.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
SystemSportsCapping.com, guys. SystemSportsCapping.com to become a client today. New clients all the time. It's very appreciated. You guys make me work hard, and you guys make me continue to want to do this. So I do thank you guys. Check it out. Check out the website for all packages. We profit long term here with the System Capping. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. If I see a really awesome comment this week, I'm going to give you a free month. If I really like one of your comments this week, guys, I'm going to give you a free month of my personal plays. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into the card. Shop around. Shop around. This isn't the best price in the market. Just keep that in mind. It's just a generic number that I have here. Main event. Hermansen plus 190 versus Strickland minus 230. Lines moving around. I do see 220s out there, even a little lower, so shop around if you do like Strickland. However, I don't suggest a straight up unit play on Strickland. Wildman's back. This guy is, when you listen to his interview, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. He is a wild man, and he gets another main event here versus a tough guy who's been in some big fights in the UFC. The better competition definitely goes to Hermansen. He's only lost to the top guys in Vettori. Vettori he lost to, and I'm forgetting the other name. Sorry about that. I'll come to me eventually. This guy's just a loose cannon. Even Hermansen mentioned that in an interview. A guy that will die in the ring, in my opinion, before he taps or gets knocked out. I do believe he will die in there before losing or tapping out, in my opinion. Fun to watch Sean fight these days. I love his toughness and willing to make the fight ugly. He's willing to keep the fight standing and make it ugly. It will be interesting to see how these styles match up, though, versus Jack. And how often Jack Hermansen's going to go, where I do think he has the advantage in the wrestling and grappling department. In my opinion, that is Jack's path to victory only. He is coming off a wrestling match with Khamzat where he was dominated and destroyed for the most part, but that's Khamzat. He's top level, right? Top level wrestler. Last time in the ring, he did get a decision win over Shabazian, who just fell out of the total prospect talk. He used to be a big prospect in this division coming in, and he's lost a bunch in a row now, and I don't know what's going on with that guy. Cannonier and Vettori. Yes, Cannonier's the other guy he lost. Top of the division guy. Cannonier and Vettori. Strickland, he's on a 5-fight win streak. Uriah Hall being his last win, which is probably one of his better wins. But he just hasn't been tested like Hermansen in these big fights. Not saying he can't. He's here, right? Not saying he can. He got a main event last time against Uriah Hall, and he looked great. But this is his biggest test yet due to Hermansen's grappling capabilities. Now, the only other time Strickland was taken down in the UFC, keep this in mind, guys, was against Usman, which makes sense, right? That's his only big loss against Usman. Keep that in mind, remember? Usman was able to just wrestle him there. That's the only time he's been taken down in the UFC is against Usman. Usman been the only guy to do it. And he just hasn't really fought any wrestlers or guys that look to grapple. Most guys he's getting, Uriah Hall and Jocko, those are his last 2 fights. Those guys like to strike. They're more kickboxers, right? And then Brandon Allen, who should be wrestling, but he doesn't, and he decides to stand on the feet, and he just loses. And he gets knocked out in that fight. Terrible IQ, Brandon Allen. We haven't really seen Strickland fight a guy that wants to grapple and wrestle. So that will be interesting to see how he is able to use his takedown. I do think he does have solid takedown defense, especially the camps that he's working at. He definitely, obviously, made that a priority in this camp. So I don't think he's just going to get ragdolled. And if he does get taken down, I do expect him to pop up. Remember, Hermansson was able to get Vettori down a few times, especially at the beginning of that fight. So Vettori's a big boy. Strong guy. He can wrestle as well. So Strickland, it's all going to come down to how does he handle the grappling and takedowns. That's what it's going to come down to. Right? I can't give you a 100% answer here if Strickland's going to be able to keep it on the feet. If Strickland does keep it on the feet, he wins this fight probably by decision or a later finish because his pressure. Can Hermansson handle that pressure from Strickland that Strickland's going to provide? We're going to have to see. So my pick here, gun to the head, is lean Strickland, but I would not lay this price at minus 230 on a straight bet with Strickland. There's definitely value with Hermansson just because I mentioned he could grapple his way to victory here. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't get all in on Strickland, even though I do like Strickland to find a way here due to his pressure, striking, and I do think he keeps it up on the feet enough to win this fight. Co-main event, an interesting one. Not one that I've seen, but when you have cards like this, you never know what's going to happen. Soriano minus 190 versus Nick Maximov plus 160. Minus 190 looks a little too rich for my blood for Soriano. We got Nate Diaz Army here. Nick gets a co-main, which is surprising because I see 2 fights that I personally could be above this. And that's the next fight I'm going to talk about. Nick's solid grappler. We know that. Not a great striker. He's been working on his boxing with the Nick Diaz Army, I'm sure. But very good grappler. Black belt on the ground. He's going to want to get this to the ground. Soriano has heavy hands. He's coming off a loss to Brandon Allen. Nick's path to victory here will be grappling and wrestling. He's going to have to try to get him down. I don't think Soriano's terrible on the ground, but I think Nick has the advantage there. So if Nick can get Soriano down to the ground, Soriano's a strong guy. If he's going to be able to get him to the ground, he has a chance to win this fight, maybe find a submission as well. We see Nick come into his debut on short notice and get a win. Tough, hard-fought fight, though, but he was able to pull it off. It was close. It was a coin flip type of fight. And we just haven't seen, with Soriano, we just haven't seen any quality names, in my opinion, that he beat. And also, we haven't really seen him on the ground much. Like his 2 fights where he has wins, I guess Dusko was a decent win, an impressive win, even though Dusko showed that his chin can be a little suspect. And then Pickett. He beat Pickett as well. But, just another 500 guy. Nick Maxwell's coming in undefeated here. So we're going to see if he can keep that. There's only one way to play this fight if you're going to have to play it. Again, I don't play every fight, but if I did and I was looking for an underdog, it would have to be Maximov here at plus 160. I don't know how his cardio is going to hold up. That's one issue here if he decides to wrestle all 3 rounds. I know Soriano's cardio is not great. So both of them may have cardio issues. So I can't lean to Maximov with cardio. But I do think Maximov finds a way somehow. It's just I can't get to the window on a Soriano minus 190. It's dog or pass here, in my opinion. Next fight, this is a fight I'm really excited for. Really excited for Rachmaninov minus 240 versus Harris plus 200. Rachmaninov, this guy is, a lot of people are saying, the next guy, the future of this division. 2 overseas guys battling here, and I love Carlson Harris. I love this guy. I'm 2-0 betting on him in the UFC. He's usually an underdog, not this big of an underdog. I did think I hit on a plus 190, somewhere close to this, but I was on Harris on both fights because I do know him. I do see him in regional scenes before this and other fights, and I do know this guy's really good, and he's good everywhere. Very dangerous on the ground with submission, and he's have some power in his hands. He does have some power in his hands, so I definitely do like what I see from Harris. I just think it's a tough fight for him. You're asking a big step. I think this fight could be really close, so I think we could have a fun fight here, guys. This is a big step up for Harris compared to the guys he was beating, right? He's a 14-0 fighter. Guy's very hyped. And I do agree Harris is the dog here, but there is some meat on the bone at plus 200. There is value on Harris at plus 200. Okay, I knew Harris was a solid submission guy. He does have his first win with submission, but he showed some striking against Impa when he beat Impa. He showed some power in his hands, nice right hand. It's a little awkward. You know, it's not flashy. It's not a boxing style, but he has a reach that he likes to use. He won't have a reach advantage here, though. So that's something to keep in mind. Harris, he's undervalued in most of his fights. I'm able to catch the lines where he's undervalued. Here, I understand why he's undervalued. Rachmaninov, there's a lot of hype around the guy. I love Harris. I don't think I'll get to that plus 200. But again, I can't lay minus 240 on Rachmaninov. There's no way I can get there. So it's another Harris could find a way to win. It's just, I think both guys are on the ground, so I don't think Harris. I do think Harris may have a slight advantage on the feet. So, you know, gun to head, it's the value with Harris. It has to be, but from if there was no money involved and no sides, and you put these two guys in a cage, I take Rachmaninov to find a way to win. But due to the pricing, it has to be a look to the dog in Harris. Allen minus 400 versus Alvey plus 300. They just put this fight together. It's I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. But we know Alvey's a tough guy. He can hang in there. But I do see Allen winning this fight, but I'm going to be staying off it just because it's minus 400. And you can't fit this in anywhere. And he's fighting on short notice. I watched his interview today. He doesn't look ready. He admits that he's not ready. He admits that he hasn't been training. And Alvey's game always game, even though he hasn't won a fight since 2018. This is a guy that doesn't want to fight since 2018. He had 7 fights in between 2018 and now, guys. It's not like he had 2 fights. So he's not getting wins, and Brandon Allen is just better everywhere, in my opinion. I just have a hard time seeing how Alvey wins this fight. Where is he going to win this fight, right? So even though Allen hasn't been training, I do think he wins, but it's minus 400. Just stay away. The fight that should have been the Ultimate Fighter finals is Gore minus 160 versus Battle plus 135. If you remember, Gore got hurt in the house, so he wasn't able to fight, and then Battle went on beating Urbana. And Battle looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. There's some value at the dog price. We haven't seen Gore in there for a year now. He's coming off a serious injury, so I do think there's some value here with Battle. I do think it's going to be a good fight. These two were supposed to fight many times on the regional scene, and they didn't. I seen an interview with Gore the other day saying, I wanted to fight Battle for $500. But Battle wouldn't because the amount wasn't enough. So I don't know if Battle's avoiding him. I do think Gore is probably the more skilled guy and better on the feet. However, he just hasn't been in there for a year. So that minus 160 is tough to get. This is a fight I'll be staying away from because it is a flip of a coin, in my opinion. But it's going to be a good fight, I think. I think it's most likely going to go all 3 rounds. So maybe the over 2.5 is a look. But this should be a hard-fought battle. Both these guys will fight in the UFC moving forward. I do think Battle presents some concerns because I do think he's very well-rounded, maybe a little more well-rounded than Gore. But Gore has the power on the feet. I do think he's a better striker, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does take it. But I'm not willing to pay the price and find out at minus 160. So I definitely would look at some value with Battle, but I'm staying away. Last fight here to talk about. It's opening up the main card. It's a Rosa minus 300 versus Peterson plus 240. Not much to say about this fight, especially when a guy like a Rosa is a big favorite. Even though he's looked good, he's had some big wins that kind of are going overlooked, right? He is 3-1 in the UFC with wins over Woodson, Nate Lanoir, and Charles Jourdain. These are tough guys. And so those wins are pretty impressive. So I do think he's going to win this fight. I do think he's better everywhere. Peterson could wrestle a bit. He doesn't throw a lot of volume. Rosa will have him in the volume. Peterson can strike. Peterson's fairly well-rounded, put it like that. He's just not good at anything. He's not really good at anything. He's tough, very hard to finish. He has not been finished in the UFC, so he does fight the decision. So I do think it'll be tough for Peterson to get submitted. But a Rosa could find a submission. He does have a lot of submissions on his record, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see an Rosa finish here. But it's a Rosa for me, but the price, again, they're buying you out minus 300. You may look at the decision prop for a Rosa just because he does win on volume and maybe submission attempts. that will do it, guys. That will do it. UFC is back. Hopefully it's back every weekend. I'll have to look at the schedule, but obviously with the NBA, with the NFL being coming to a wind down now, and only the Super Bowl video, which will be out early next week, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, the Super Bowl video. So definitely look out for that. We'll be back here every week giving you guys weekly updates on all my sports. We're running good in all sports like we always predict and always assume. So look out for that. I may start doing some golf videos as well, growing the channel and doing a daily podcast as well. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Hopefully you enjoy the fights this weekend. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.